More proof of the retirement crisis. Take a look at this article from the Investor Business Daily. And I just kind of chuckled here because here's economic shock. 2/3 of voters living paycheck to paycheck under Sniffy Joe. All right, so that's like, oh my goodness, we're all gonna run out of money. It's bad. You know, like, I'm not saying it's good. People say, oh, you don't think there's this? No. I'm saying, look, I know here in California where I'm at right now, thanks to Sniffy Joe and Governor Newsom, almost $5 a gallon. Of course, in California, people are like, yeah, but Governor Newsom is allowing us to breathe the fresh air. That's like the stupidest thing ever, but okay. Anyway, I know it's bad out there for many people, 100%. This is a retirement planning channel, though. The question is it bad for retirees? All right, so we're going to look at this. And I just want to point out something here. 64% are living paycheck to paycheck, all right? And this is, we got overall, yes, 64% are living paycheck to paycheck. 27% say are not. That includes Democrats, that includes Republicans, that includes independents, that includes conservatives, that includes libs, and that includes moderates. All right, so we got a sample size of 1,400 and a plus or minus 2.6 online survey. All right. Now the problem is we don't know what the questions are. There's no link to the poll, which actually kind of ticks me off. Anyway, so now we're going to come down here. Now they put it as age and as income. So overall, 64% are living paycheck to paycheck. Of the 1,400 was the people? Yeah, 1,400 people. All right. Overall, 64%. Youngins, 68%. Not quite so youngins, 71% were living paycheck to paycheck. It makes sense. I was living paycheck to paycheck when I was young. I guarantee you were too. I still kind of am, don't get me wrong. I'm in this age bracket here. Less people are living paycheck to paycheck. So there's not a big drop off, but a 10% drop off from 25 to 44 to 45 to 64. But look at this. A massive drop-off, age 65. 50%, only half the population of retiree basically are living paycheck to paycheck. See that big drop-off? 38% of retirees are not living paycheck to paycheck. Now, you can make a claim, but Josh, retirees don't have a paycheck. Okay. Well, retirees have a monthly income stream called Social Security. That's equivalent of a paycheck, man. And right there, they're saying half the people are not living, or only half are living paycheck to paycheck. Which means what? A good amount of people are not living paycheck to paycheck. Interesting. Weird how that's not reported, though. Are you living, and I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. What I mean is that I have enough money to cover my bills with the pay I have. If that paycheck stopped, I'd have to dip into what? Investments, savings. Social Security doesn't stop. If you have a pension, doesn't stop. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that doesn't mean you're living poorly. It just means your current income is covering your expenditures. Why is that such a bad thing? Especially if you're retired. Now, if you're worried, I just got an email from a guy just this a couple of days ago. I'm on the road, so I don't check my emails every second of every day. And he said he suddenly got laid off. All right. But guess what? He's got money in his savings account, in his retirement account. So he's pulling off. He pulled $150,000 out to pay off his mortgage, pay off his car. Now he's using the rest of that money to live on. Is he living paycheck to paycheck? Yeah, you could say that. But he doesn't have Social Security kicking in yet. But when he does, like, yeah, Social Security, a little bit of investments, that covers my bills. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, how come there's a significant drop off of right here, from here to there, when the retirement crisis, we're told, is the issue? I don't understand, man. Of course, everyone's living paycheck to paycheck. That in of itself is not indicative of a crisis. It's just not. It doesn't make any sense. Now, if you survey retirees and they're all like, man, I'm living I can't eat anything but ramen noodles, that's different. But that's not the case. We see retirees are survey over survey after survey are content. So even if the majority are living paycheck to paycheck, the paycheck does not going to stop because it's a fixed income or a guaranteed income via Social Security. It's adjusted for the cost of living. I literally don't understand. I don't understand how people can not see the positivity of retirement versus working. It's crazy. So my man pays off his mortgage, pays off his car loan, doesn't have nearly the expenses he did before. The money's, yeah, oh, he's not getting the money in the market. He had to pay tax on that money. But now he's just living off his retirement accounts. That's what you save the money for, man. Jeez. Well, some people don't have retirement accounts. That's right. In fact, they go down here and they say, let me show you what I'm talking about. I've done videos on this before, but how much money do you have in savings that could be used for an emergency? The answers are then grouped by dollar value based on individual responses. The answer, 24% of all Americans don't have anything in savings. Again, this is what we talked about before. Define savings, will you? Because when I first did this, there's another article along these lines I talked about too. I didn't have anything in savings. I had everything in investments. I had my equity line. I had my credit card. You see what I'm saying? But I have a savings. I don't like to have a significant amount of money in savings. I do now, not significant. I have more now. But back then I was like, I'm okay with not having savings. I have other access points if I needed a new HVAC system, for instance. And they're still saying 24% has zero. All right. Well, what would the 24? The next obvious question is, what would you do if you needed a new roof? That would be the next obvious question, but they don't ask that. A distressing 24% has zero in savings. But man, there's always going to be about 15 to 20% of the population will always be under the gun. It's just, I mean, again, as I say all the time, Jesus said, the poor will always be with us. There's always going to be about 15 to 20% of the population, which is going to be not in a great place. It's just you can't get around that. I don't think those people are watching these videos. I just don't. But I just find it funny because what we do down here, so they're saying it's stressing 24% of all Americans responded zero. But then we're going to come down here, all right? The median savings amount, even after counting the richest Americans, totaled just $1,586. Remember, the median, 50% of the people have more, 50% of the people have less. Okay, so I like how they phrase it, the median savings account even after counting the richest Americans. Well, that would be the mean or the average if you want the richest Americans to skew the averages. The median doesn't skew the averages. The median is the midpoint. All right, so that means 50% of the population has more than $1,500 in savings. 50% of the population has less than $1,500, but still means a significant amount of the population has at least $1,500 or $1,000, for instance. Is that going to fix your roof? Probably not. Will it change your tires? Absolutely. But I just like how they throw this is just where politicians, political animals, they don't understand. The median savings account, even after counting the richest Americans. That doesn't affect the median guy. I mean, a little bit, not much. That would affect the averages because the outliers skew the averages are always skewed towards the outliers. And you have two sorts of outliers, one with $1 billion and one with zero. All right, so inherently you can't go any lower than zero. I guess you could if you had negative net worth, but that's not really the case here. So the averages will always skew towards the infinity and beyond, the higher amount. The median just says 50% of the people have less, 50% of the people have more. So a distressing 24% of all Americans responded zero. That's 1,400 people, by the way. We don't know who these people are. They don't give a link in this to the survey. And then the median is still 1,586. All right, right there. That's, man. And then they say, in short, economically speaking, Americans are ill prepared for financial emergencies. Ironically, the minorities have the most. The median held of savings had almost double that of whites. So we're being discriminated against us white people. Whites only had $1,310. Minorities had $2,200. What does that tell you? Whites have more trust in the financial markets, so they don't have as much in savings. Minorities have less trust in the financial markets, especially Spanish-speaking people, because they've seen what the financial markets and the banking and all that does. They've seen it in Argentina, all these other places. You see what I'm saying? But even with that, they still don't trust the financial markets like stock markets, and they might not be as well enamored with it just because they haven't had the education about the financial markets, which is probably a good thing than whites have. Whites have about half as the minorities do in savings accounts. Why? Because whites have more trust in the day-to-day vagaries of the financial markets. Minorities have less trust, so they keep their money in FDIC insured savings accounts. Kind of makes sense to me. Kind of makes sense. But then we're going to turn around and say, well, whites, you don't have enough savings. And yet we'll hear article after article that whites have more investments. Inherently, whites are sacrificing savings for more investments. That's what I do. That's just a fact. And as such, guess what? Whites have less in savings, which means it drops the median amount of savings down because whites have less because they have more in their investment accounts. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Just more shenanigans right here. Oh, but Republicans, hey, don't worry about increasing Social Security. By gender, women, 33% have no savings and are more likely to be savings insecure than men. The median savings for men is $52.91. The median savings for women is $573. Remember, there's more votes for women, but Republicans, let's not do anything to solidify Social Security, which women heavily rely on more so than men. But nah, we don't need to do anything. Let's not talk about bread and butter issues that affect women. Now, I'm not talking about abortion. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the bread and butter issues that affect women. Let's just pretend like, oh no, man, nah, we don't want Social Security reform because that's not our base. It is your base, you freaking people, you Republicans. Become a populist party like you're born to be. That's what I want. I want to see a Republican populist party, not a Republican. Tax cuts for the wealthy. Blah, 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 blah. It's actually not. I get it. It's not tax cuts for the wealthy. I get it. But Republicans right now are have a compromise with Sniffy Joe about depreciation for businesses and all that stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's great, but your voters aren't business. I mean, you do have some voters in the Republican Party as a business owner. I am. But the vast majority of voters are just day-to-day workers, man. Depreciation for businesses is great, but that's not a bread and butter issue for most kitchen households or kitchen table people when they're talking about their financial situation. It's just not, man. Come on. All right. Love your thoughts. We'll see you. God bless.